Russia's main opposition leader suffers alleged poisoning. Believe you can, and you're halfway there.
And on sport news tonight, 2020-2021 Premier League fixtures announced. This and more sporting stories much later on the news. My name is Moses Ojewumi. Stay with us.
In the next 12 months, the current administration in Ogun State is targeting 2,000 units of affordable housing across the state, which will also create jobs for the people. The governor of the state, Prince Dapo Abiodun, stated this while receiving the managing director, Family Home Funding Limited, in his office. Governor's office correspondent Tunde Olaniro reports that the governor said the current administration will partner with private sector to provide affordable housing for the people. His reports.
Shelter is one of the fundamental needs of human beings. This, the current administration in Ogun State is taking very seriously by partnering with the private sector to provide affordable housing for the people of the state. The newest partnership is with Family Home Funding Limited, Abuja.
Explore the opportunity for working with your government with respect to the mass housing program, which is a critical element of the economic sustainability plan approved by His Excellency President Muhammadu Buhari, targeted at leveraging affordable housing to creating jobs across the economy. We want to work with the government.
The governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, says provision of affordable housing is a priority for the current administration.
In the first 52 weeks of this administration, we have done quite a bit in that area. The usual we refer to as the pilot scheme of affordable housing units, and they were completely sold out. We are now further deepening that by expanding that scheme, which was in our original plan, to other parts of the state. We are expanding in Abeokuta here, which is central. We're going to the east. We're doing Shagamu, we're doing Jebode. We're even doing on the Shagamu-Abeokuta expressway, and we're going to Adodo-Ota, we're going to Ilaro. Our plan over the next 12 months is to have a minimum of 2,000 units of affordable housing properties.
He notes that the state is in complete alignment with the economic sustainable plan of the federal government, with the state being the pilot state.
We've had presence in the new Mako City, where we are involved with you in the construction of about 1,020 homes, and that is ongoing. We are looking forward to deepening our relationship with family homes. For us in Ogun State, we'll be very excited to collaborate, by providing whatever it is required of us, which will probably principally be, the land that will be, that will be well located. We see this, like we said, as an opportunity not just to provide affordable housing for our people, but also particularly to provide the needed employment at this time when we've had a lot in terms of economic contraction.
Prince Dapo Abiodun was optimistic that the mutually beneficial relationship will result in affordable housing for the people of Ogun State, particularly for those on low and modest income in the state. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
The potential for the partnership of the Family Home Fund Limited and the government of Ogun State is huge and will massively bridge the housing deficit in the state and create wealth. Mr. Femi Adewale, Managing Director of Family Home Fund Limited, a federal government initiative and part of the social intervention program of the federal government, is aimed at ensuring that Nigerians on low income are helped out of poverty. Mr. Femi Adewale spoke with our governor's office correspondent, Tunde Olaniro, after meeting with the governor of Ogun State. Prince Dapo Abiodun says he is enthusiastic.
Looking forward to building on the excellent work that this administration is doing, together to have a large-scale housing program that enables people who are on low income or people on the streets, as we call them, to be able to afford to have a house that is well built, that is in a very organized community at a price that they can afford. So this is the first impact I think this partnership will have. It will ensure that people have a roof over their heads in a safe and secure environment to bring up their children. But beyond that, it also has a significant impact of providing employment, particularly for young people. For every home that we build, it will create at least 6 new jobs. So if you take, for example, that we partner, as I expect, with Ogun State to do, say, about 10,000 houses, that is about 60,000 new jobs that will be created mostly for young people in Ogun State directly. In addition to that, will be opportunities for indirect employment, because on the building site are people who are driving lorries, the people who are selling food, people who are selling nails, they are selling blocks, who will also benefit from that investment. So the potential of this partnership for people who are on the streets, as you say, is significant.
The Commissioner for Housing, Jagmolu Jamiu Omoni, disclosed that the next phase of Prince Court Estate will spread to 7 other locations in the state.
In the first phase of Prince Court Estate, we delivered just 130 units within just 3 months. And the implication is that we can do more. And as I speak, we are spreading to 7 other different locations in Ogun State. Clearing is almost being sorted out. We are doing the beaconings now. And in partnership with the federal, with the family homes, we can be sure that within the next few weeks, we'll be back on site doing what we know how to do, putting structures in place. And to the glory of God, by May next year, we will be delivering quite a number of affordable housing units for the people of Ogun State.
There is the need for Nigeria to bridge the gap between potential and performance by ensuring federalism and adequate restructuring of the polity. The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, stated this in his address to the Yoruba Appraisal Forum, who were in his office to protest against the advocacy of a group that the Yoruba people should secede from Nigeria. Governor's Office correspondent Tunde Olanyo reports.
The Yoruba Appraisal Forum embarked on a peaceful protest which terminates at the Ogun State Governor's Office, Okemosun, Abeokuta. The purpose of the protest is to say no to the call for secession of the Yoruba nation.
They are saying the Yoruba should be carved out of Nigeria. At this point that we need unity. We have invested so much in Nigeria. At this point, we cannot leave Nigeria. So we don't want division. We want one Nigeria, one unity. That is why we are coming here to inform our governor and the Mr. Speaker and some of our traditional leaders that we don't want division within us.
The Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, who spoke through his Chief of Staff, Alhaji Salis Shoaib, says the Yoruba nation has made quite a lot of investment in Nigeria as a nation.
So I think that unanimity, that a lot of things could be done better in the country, but also a greater wisdom that even in an attempt to bring about a better Nigeria, we can only do so through peaceful dialogue with other constituent parts of the country. That is where together we can build a nation. And Yoruba nation has produced sons and daughters who have made sacrifices for this country to be great. In terms of war, in terms of peace, and in bringing about the independence that Nigeria enjoys. In a matter of few months, indeed few weeks from now, Nigeria will attain 60 years of independence. And of course, we have attained more than 100 years of our coming together of northern and southern patriotism in 1940 to form what we call Nigeria. Nigeria, Yoruba nation, has sacrificed a lot for this country.
He observes that there are quite a lot of challenges confronting the nation, which unity and peaceful coexistence will help to solve.
And therefore, it is in the collective interest of all, including Nigerian nation, in the Yoruba nation, that Nigeria is better structured, Nigeria is better organized, Nigeria is empowered to achieve its full potential so that we can bridge the gap between potentials and performance. But in doing so, we must engage every part of the country in a peaceful dialogue to ensure that the Nigeria of our dream, the future of this country, that you as youth represent, and for whom the current leadership of Ogun State is working under.
He advised Yoruba Appraisal Forum to continue their campaign in a peaceful manner, assuring that necessary steps will be taken on their request. Tunde Olaniro, Ogtv News.
Towards ensuring that Ogun State stands out in agricultural industrialization, job creation and food security through increased productivity of smallholder farmers, distribution of agro-input materials has been officially flagged off at Odeda local government area by the state government. Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Adiola Odedina, who performed the ceremony, disclosed that the distribution exercise, which is also taking place across other regions in the state, would have 2,500 cassava and rice farmers as beneficiaries. Ife Sholuade reports.
The governor of
The Value Chain Development Program is jointly formulated by the Federal Government of Nigeria, Ogun State Government, and the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, to aid the processing, production, and marketing of rice and cassava farmers.
On behalf of His Excellency, the Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dr. Abiodun MFR, I flag off this input distribution exercise for smallholder farmers in 8 local government areas of Ogun State in the name of God and service to humanity. Amen.
And in continuation of its promise to providing succor to farmers during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis embattling the globe, Ogun State Government has officially commenced the distribution of agro-inputs to 2,500 smallholder farmers across all participating local government areas of the state.
At the inception of this administration, the government made it clear that I'm going to use agriculture to drive the economy. I'm going to use agriculture to empower people. And it's happening today because we're empowering 2,500 people through agriculture. You can't do that without planning. And the government made one of the most reasonable decisions of force registering people for agricultural opportunity. Imagine, how would it have been if by now we are not saying we are looking for 2,500 farmers? The opportunity will lapse. So the governor have in his kitty registration that is above 70,000. So let the program be coming from anywhere in the world. We have the young people to fill it.
Vice Chairman, House Committee on Agriculture, Ogun State House of Assembly, Honorable Yusuf Adejojo, as well as Caretaker Chairman, Odeda Local Government, Honorable Bola Lawal, in their separate remarks, confirmed that the exercise is a strong indication of an agriculture-minded administration of Prince Dapo Abiodun.
I also want to implore the youth and the women among us, let this be like a beginning, like a sign for other youth and women, so that they can show interest in participating in the subsequent programs.
I want to implore all our farmers to seize all opportunities available to them in the Value Chain Development Program to increase their productivity in their various farming enterprises.
The state project coordinator, Mr. Samuel Adeogun, reiterates that partnership with private investors is a key factor towards promoting transparency and accountability in the registration process.
The use of the farmer's card, and which is going to be scanned, and then be able to determine whether that farmer is actually the farmer that has been registered to collect the inputs. So that's technology, and that's also to ensure that it gets to the right person, and it's also we can be accountable for what has been collected by the different farmers.
Some beneficiaries during the symbolic distribution of herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers and other inputs lauded the intervention exercise. Ife Sholuade, Ogtv News.
Ogun State House of Assembly has waded into the unfortunate incident that occurred recently between some officials of the Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps and truck drivers, which led to loss of life, urging men and officers of trace to always exercise restraint in handling traffic infractions while carrying out their duties on the roads. The Chairman, House Committee on Transportation, Honorable Oludaisi Elemide, who gave the charge during an interactive session with the concerned government agency and affected unions and associations in the state, also charged the truck drivers to desist from reckless driving and obey traffic laws. Kalawole Osho's report is presented in this package.
In its efforts to sustain peace and tranquility being enjoyed by the people of Ogun State, the Ogun State House of Assembly, in its wisdom, has waded into the unfortunate incident that occurred recently between some officials of the Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps, TRACE, and truck drivers, which led to loss of life in Abeokuta, the state capital. Chairman, House Committee on Transportation, Honorable Oludaisi Elemide, in company of other members of the committee, in order to forestall such occurrence, had meeting with TRACE Commandant Sheni Ogunyemi, Director, VIO, Engineer Olugboyega Ademeyin, representatives of the Truck Owners Association of Nigeria, State Unified Unions and Drivers Association, and the state chapter of the Nigeria Union of Mine Workers at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Honorable Elemide tasked men and officers of TRACE as well as their counterparts in the Vehicle Inspection Office, VIO, to be more civil in the discharge of their duties with road users, particularly heavy-duty trucks, with a view to ensuring seamless enforcement of traffic and road laws, while advising them to improve on measures at reducing road carnages that often affect lives of innocent people. The lawmaker clarifies that the curfew directive of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 should be obeyed by the truck drivers. He intimated them that the Ninth Assembly was working on some proposed bills, including Transportation Development Bill and TRACE Amendment Bill, with a view to repositioning the Corps for optimum performance, while directing truck owners to, as a matter of urgency, comply with the truck identification policy put in place by TRACE and avoid overzealousness and recklessness to further promote safety on the roads.
Well, you have had, truck owners, you have had our stand in this house. Go and get your means of conspicuous identification on your trucks. And we have told them they are not to start pursuing your trucks, but you take your boys, when they are stopped, they should stop.
The meeting thereafter observed a minute silence in honor of the deceased victim, who was a truck driver assistant, describing the incident as unfortunate.
Still to come, President Buhari says development in Mali is a setback for diplomacy. More news and reports shortly. Welcome back. It is now in the consciousness of motorists in Ogun State that proper registration of the vehicles is a matter of compulsion, as Road Taxes Enforcement Team of the State Internal Revenue Service is still all out on some major roads within Abeokuta, the state capital, to enforce collection and renewal of necessary vehicle documents. Elizabeth Esson was with the enforcement team on Kotoko Elewera Road on day 3 of the exercise. Her reports.
Private and commercial vehicles being impounded by the Road Taxes Enforcement Team of the Ogun State's Internal Revenue Service for offenses ranging from lack of vehicle documents, expired documents, and usage of old number plates. The exercise, which started earlier this week, according to some officials, has been yielding positive results, as most motorists are now complying.
Another thing we want our people to imbibe the culture is complying voluntarily to government regulations. We see on our roads many vehicles carrying old number plates. We need them to come and revalidate these number plates. And at the same time, we have a lot of drivers and motorists out there that are without driver's license. The vehicle particulars in particular, many of them have expired for several months or years. So that is the essence and one of the reasons why we are out there.
So it's not just by them doing the particulars moving on the road, but it's for their own safety too. Another person may even be kidnapped, even inside the vehicle. But the only thing we can hold on is that registration number which we have registered. We produce all the details of the taxpayer, and from there it will be easier for the police to trace wherever the vehicle is being taken to.
To some of the motorists, obtaining necessary documents is of great benefits, but plead with officials of State Internal Revenue Service to always give them adequate notification ahead of any enforcement.
Anything they share with
it's okay. To me, it's okay. As an intellectual, it is okay.
No, me can feel we are questioning. To what he expire by your joy. More prefer ki ma jade lo joy.
Issuance and collection of vehicle documents, according to OGIRS officials, is one of the road taxes to be paid by motorists for government to be able to provide necessary infrastructure on the roads. Elizabeth Tesson, Ogtv News.
The International Labour Organization has described unemployment, a growing global problem, as a long-term persistent trend affecting up to 30% of the global labor force. In this special report, Kunle Ibikunle takes a look at the role of vocational education in reducing unemployment in the country. This report is presented in this package.
According to United Nations, the vocational education plays a critical role in equipping young people with the right skills to meet labor market needs, fueling competitiveness while reducing unemployment among youths. While reducing youth unemployment, respondents who spoke with Ogtv News crew said developing countries have a wealth of existing and aspiring entrepreneurs who can be helped through self-employment to face the threat of unemployment if vocational education is well funded and supported by the government. They add that vocational education has partly contributed to high unemployment and rising poverty among the youth because most of them lack the necessary job skills.
Provide the right atmosphere for these young entrepreneurs to now put what they've been taught or what they've learned or their skills and talents on display to grow the economy. If we do that, people will no longer seek for white-collar jobs. The average Nigerian wants to work with his own hands, make money by himself, and be proud of what he's doing, what they call dignity of labor.
Student intellect is being developed towards creativity. There was a father of creativity believed to be Edward D. Brown, and he said, gone are the days when punctuality is the soul of the business. Creativity is the soul of the business. And creative thinking is what we need to do.
If you study the trend of vocational education in Nigeria, you will see that it is defective. And I think that is why today we have high unemployment rates, and it's as if the vocational education we are talking about does not even exist at all. But it has been in place in Nigeria for decades. But I think what Nigeria needs is a kind of marriage between vocational education and modern education.
According to them, unemployment is one of the major threats to economic development of any country, adding that vocational training can play a key role in helping youths get jobs.
The government should empower people towards that. Because by the time even somebody is being trained, being good, with all that goodness, and they didn't have money to establish himself or herself, what do we do? You know, this is what we have to do.
The major problem why it is as if vocational education does not exist in Nigeria, because those who are acquiring the education are unable to bring about any innovation. They are unable to bridge the gap between what they learned those days and what is reality now.
Vocational education is designed to offer training to improve individuals' general proficiency, especially with their present and future occupation.
Most private schools, we have a private school, and we give attention to that. We prepare them to pass their WAEC and pass their NECO. We prepare them to live without WAEC and NECO certificates. We prepare to to begin to develop their skills, their talents. If you like, call it catch them young. So I think the government need to, technical schools, if they can be, brought back, it will be of major help. Technical schools are not bad. Polytechnics, to teach and to train people in handiworks, carpentry, furniture making, fashion designing, name it, whatever be the stuff.
Vocational education systems mainly concentrate on helping individuals to gain employment in the small and medium enterprise sector. Having the right skills in the right place and at the right time is essential in the labor markets to operate efficiently, and this is its unemployment bottlenecks.
Muslim faithful have been admonished to obey to the letter the tenets of Islam and be law-abiding as they migrate into the new Islamic year, Hijrah 1442 AH. The Ogun State Coordinator, National Council of Muslim Youth Organization, Dr. Soleh Amolebe, gave that admonition while speaking with Ogtv News on the significance of the new Islamic year.
It is a remembrance of how the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Medina. And if you count it back, it's about 1,442 years ago. And as a Muslims, we have to follow the suit to be reminded of this and to say that, oh, it has taken such number of years, and it is for us also to migrate from, in principle, from what is bad to what is good.
The Islamic calendar, also known as the Hijra Lunar Muslim or Arabic calendar, is a lunar calendar consisting of 12 lunar months in a year of 354 or 355 days, which is used to determine the proper days of Islamic holidays and rituals, such as the annual period of fasting and the proper time for the Hajj.
No, is that it is a year that gives us the true picture of how we calculate years in Islam. That is, it makes us to know that we have 12 months, and it is as a result of the lunar system, I mean the moon that we have been using to count these months in a year, starting from Muharram to Sulhijjah, and it tells us about some significant months inside that month, be it the Muharram, the Rajab, the Sulqa'dah, and the Sulhijjah, the months that we fast, the month that we go to Hajj, among other things.
Each charge Muslim faithful to be law-abiding citizens. The current Islamic year is 1442 AH in the Gregorian calendar. 1442 AH runs from approximately 21 August 2020 to 10th August 2021. On the 20th of August 1922, famous social critic and avowed atheist Dr. Tai Shulani was born in Ikene, Remo, Ogun State. Shemilore Makonjo in this report takes a look at the life and times of the post-independent civil rights critic and educationist. Her report.
One of Nigeria's activists, Augustus Taiwo Sholari, also known as Tai Sholari, was born on August 20, 1922, the older of a set of twins. He was inspired by the writings of Nnamdi Azikiwe, who encouraged young people to travel abroad for study. Sholari's initial attempt to gain a passport fell through, but he later enlisted in the British Air Force and served with the Royal Air Force as a navigator in the Second World War. Tai Sholari, an humanist, established Mayflower School in Ikene. In 1975, when the General Gowon regime delayed returning power to civilian regime, Tai Sholari published his The Beginning and the End statement, which he then physically distributed on the roadside. He was subsequently imprisoned for this act. Throughout his lifetime, Tai fought running battles with various governments in the bid to improve the lots of Nigerians. In recognition of his service to the education sector, the Ogun State government named the State College of Education, now Tai Sholari University of Education, Taswed, after him. Shemilore Makonju, Ogtv News.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday described the development in Mali, which led to the military toppling the government of President Ibrahim Keita as a setback for regional diplomacy. He said the development portends grave consequences for the peace of West Africa. He added that it is time for the unconstitutional authority in Mali to act responsibly and ensure restoration of constitutional order, peace and stability. Nigeria, he said, strongly supports the efforts of ECOWAS Chairman President Muhammadu Yusufu for wider regional and continental consultations with ECOWAS, AU and UN and adoption of strong measures to bring speedy resolution to the situation. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the renewal of the appointment of Mr. Joseph Ugo as the Managing Director of Niger Delta Power Holding Company for another 4 years. He also approved the renewal of appointments of the company's 2 executive directors, the Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Publicity, Laolu Akwandi, disclosed this in a statement on Thursday. The President also approved Messrs. Babayo Shehu and Ifeoluwa Oyedele as executive directors respectively. This renewal will take effect from August 25, 2020 for a period of 4 years. The appointment of 3 additional directors has also been approved for more effective and efficient coverage of the company's areas of activity. The Senate Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning threatened to sanction heads of some revenue-generating agencies of the federal government if they fail to appear before it. The heads of the affected agencies have been invited to appear before the panel to defend their positions as contained in the 2021 to 2023 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Finance, Senator Solomon Adiola, delivered the threat at the opening session of a 5-day public hearing on the 2021 to 2023 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper. He said some heads of the agencies did not appear at all, while some sent their subordinates who could not speak on the revenue figures of their agencies. Among the agencies specifically mentioned by the Senate, whose heads must appear are the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigerian Ports Authority, Nigeria Communications Commission, Nigeria Shippers Council, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, and the Nigerian National Liquefied Gas. The 2021 to 2023 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper was sent to the Senate on July 20 for consideration by the President, preparatory to the presentation of the 2021 appropriation bill. Adiola explained that in line with the desire to achieve early passage of the budget to be in tandem with the January to December budget cycle, the Senate referred the medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to the Joint Committee for consideration, even while members were on recess. The amount of money needed for development may not be available in the economy, which is why nations sometimes need to go out of the economy to source for loans. The duo of a financial analyst, Dr. Benga Adeoye, and an economist, Mr. Surajuddin Jolaosho, made this known while discussing the nation's external loan on an Ogtv political discussion program, Democratic Path. Dr. Adeoye said the issue of sovereign clause in the nation's loan, which has given rise to the concern of the National Assembly, must be critically addressed.
When you give out loan and you know that this project is not going to be viable, maybe over invoicing, or you suspect that they are not going to manage it well, so you are not looking at that project as the project that you can take over. Then your eye is on another thing. So what does that mean? Does it mean that you are giving money to people to share? So that's where the problem is. So the National Assembly, what they can do, you know, most of the discussion in the public, they are actually, to me, not necessary. They ought to sit down together and say, Ministry of Transport, let's look at this agreement.
Mr. Jolaosho stated that there is nothing wrong in taking loans to finance developmental projects.
They must continue to honor. But like we say, what is important for us is whatever new loan we want to create, let it be judiciously utilized. let us be convinced that they can actually pay both the principal and the interest. Okay. So that at the end of the day, we will not continue to pay and service loan.
They, however, submitted that the loans must be put into judicious use to address the many challenges facing the nation. National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voters Education Committee of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Festus Okoye, has said there is no alternative to the peaceful conduct of the governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states. He said failure to do so will leave both states with constitutional logjam that will be difficult to resolve. At a sensitization forum for the media in Benin, Okoye stated that political parties must eschew violence, use of intemperate inflammatory language designed to incite violence. He stated that the media was an important and indispensable component of the democratic process, assuring that the Commission will continue its robust partnership with the media as it sought to consolidate Nigerian democracy. Terrorism is one of the challenges facing humanity today, which all stakeholders must put hands together to combat. The media, as a watchdog and disseminator of happenings within the society, no doubt, has a key role to play in the quest for a lasting solution to the challenges of terrorism. Matthew Shomi, in this special report, takes a look at the role of media in the crusade against terrorism in Nigeria. His report.
Terrorism could be described as unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government or its citizens to further certain political or social objectives, and could be global or domestic. The role of media could be analyzed from two wavelengths. While it has a huge responsibility of informing the public of the danger of terrorist activities and call the attention of government to the threats posed by terrorism to the security of the state, it must not turn itself to a willing tool in the hands of terrorists who rely on the dissemination of news of its activities to instill fear on the society. Respondents are of the view that the media has been playing important roles in combating terrorism and must continue to discharge the responsibility for the society to be free from the scourge.
I must say with regret that there are some media houses, media outfits that would like to exaggerate so as to win audience, so as to win subscribers. On the other hand, the media has a responsibility to inform and educate people. Well,
just to destabilize the public in terms of security. So the media plays a very, very crucial role by, disseminating information, accurate information that is comprehensive about the activities of terrorists around the public. In fact, the public is more secured in the media because they depend on whatever they say.
Yeah. What will be the role of the media in this kind of terrorism in Nigeria? They should be a watchdog role. They should play a watchdog role. Regularly reporting and giving prominence to the reportage of cases.
Beyond the conventional media, the social media, which is generally open to all with little or no form of regulation, also plays a key role in the battle.
And of course, air is free now with the advent of the social media. So if you give the hint, the police will act, government will act, people will act. So the information is key as far as the activities of terrorists are concerned.
Authorities, the experts, should always work to such extent that nobody can just use any social media anyhow. Social media should be for the best use, for the development, for the peace.
By playing its critical role, the media is no doubt at the forefront of winning the battle against terrorism. Matthew Shomi, Ogtv News.
The state government on Thursday announced the discovery of 9 more senior secondary school students taking their exit examinations who are COVID-19 positive. The announcement is coming on the heels of the first case of COVID-19 WASC candidate from Government Science Secondary School, Gombe, who was sent to the isolation center on Monday to write his WASC examination. The chairman of the State Task Force on COVID-19, Professor Idris Mohammed, who disclosed this at a press briefing in Gombe State, said all the affected students who tested positive are writing the examinations at the isolation center, the state specialist hospital. He said 9 girls from Government Girls Secondary School, Doma, tested positive alongside another one from Kubo, while the first index case of a returning student from Kaduna recorded on Monday has tested negative and discharged to resume taking his examination from the school. 11 people have been reportedly killed and many injured in a fresh attack by gunmen between Monday and Wednesday at Ngwa Gakan village in Zangutak Kataf and Maro village, Kajuru local government area of Kaduna State. The attack comes barely 1 week after the defense headquarters deployed special forces from the Nigerian Air Force and Army to southern Kaduna in an effort to curb the spate of the killings in the volatile region. Although the police authorities are yet to confirm the incident, the chairman of Zango Kataf local government, Elias Manta, said that the attack was a revenge action by suspected Fulani militia who invaded Ungwa-Gankun community on Tuesday night and started shooting sporadically, killing 2 persons in the process and injuring many others. He also said that 8 houses were burnt by the attackers, while the villagers have fled from the community for fear of a reprisal attack. The Nigerian Armed Forces says its troops during the Operation Sahel Sanity at Danturu in Mailala district of Sabon Birni local government area of Sokoto State have arrested a notorious illegal arms smuggling syndicate which specializes in massive arms supply to bandits in the northwest across the international borders. The coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Aneche, made this known in Abuja during an update of the operations of the armed forces and other security agencies in counterinsurgency in the country. Major General Aneche stated that no fewer than 37 bandits, Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists in the northeast, northwest and north central have been neutralized within 1 week as part of its ongoing efforts to restore lasting peace in the country. He added that operations to the north and south-south zones have been continued to be aggressive with clearance operations where 12 bandit camps in Katsina State were also destroyed. According to Aneche, a total of 14 bandits were killed from the zone in the period under review. A chief magistrate court one in Kaduna on Thursday set free 2 of the 3 suspected killers of flying officer Tolu Lokpe Arotile. However, the first suspect, Nehemiah Adejo, who drove the car that killed the Air Force officer, is to be charged for culpable homicide and criminal conspiracy in the State High Court. When the case came up at the Magistrate Court 1 on Thursday, the prosecution counsel, Martins Leo, prayed the court to discharge the second and third suspect as the investigation did not find them wanton. Chief Magistrate Benjamin Hazen, while ruling on the prayer, discharged second and third suspect Folorunso Ibekele, Faith, and Bayegun Deji, based on police investigation, which did not find them wanton, and the legal advice from the State Director of Public Prosecution, Bayero Dari, that they had no case to answer. It noted that there was no premeditation in the death of Flying Officer Arotile, but there is sufficient evidence to prosecute the first suspect, Nehemiah Adejo, for culpable homicide not punishable with death. The Nigerian Air Force officer and its first female combat helicopter pilot, Flying Officer Tolu Lokpe Arotile, was knocked down and killed by a vehicle driven by her secondary school mate, Nehemiah Adejo, on the 14th of July, 2020. The Oyo State Police Command has announced a 500,000 naira reward for any member of the public that is able to provide useful information that can lead to the rearrest of the serial killer suspect in Ibadan, Sunday Shodipe. The suspect has attracted national attention since he escaped from police custody last week. Journalists in Oyo State and Joint Campus Student Union leaders in the state are among groups that have protested his escape, describing it as unacceptable. Shodipe is believed to have murdered at least 3 persons, including 2 students in Akinyele area of Ibadan from May to July. He was arrested, paraded and arraigned thereafter on July 17. But the court ordered him remanded in police custody instead of correctional custody due to COVID-19 preventive measures. He escaped on August 11. The police public relations officer in the state, Mr. Olugbenga Fadeyi, in a statement on Thursday, implored members of the public to cooperate with the police by volunteering useful information that can help rearrest Shodipe. He urged anyone with useful information on Shodipe to report to the nearest police station or contact the police command on 080-3563-2410 or 0706-600-3536. Federal Accounts Allocation Committee shares 676.4 billion naira as July allocation. Up next is business news. Welcome back. This is the business segment of the news. The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee has shared a total of 676.407 billion naira for July 2020 to the federal, state, local government and relevant agencies in the country. This was made known after the monthly Federation Accounts Allocation Committee meeting for August 2020 held through virtual conferencing, chaired by Dr. Mahmoud Issa Dutse, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Finance. The gross statutory revenue of 543.788 billion naira was received for the month of July 2020. This was higher than the 524.526 billion naira received in the previous month by 19.262 billion naira. Gross revenue available from the value-added tax was 132.619 billion naira as against 128.826 billion naira available in the preceding month, resulting in an increase of 3.79 billion naira. The Transmission Company of Nigeria said that a total of 5,420.30 megawatts of power was transmitted through the national grid as of August 19, 2020, as the country currently seeks to overhaul its power industry. A statement by the power firm stated that the figure is the highest ever recorded in the nation's power sector, surpassing the 5,377.80 megawatts peak reached on August 1. It attributed the feat to the keen interest of the federal government and the several programs and projects aimed at growing the power sector. Foreign exchange inflows into the country's economy declined by 25% in April 2020 to $9.7 billion from $12.9 billion in March 2020. This was due to the weak global demand for oil on account of coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Oil receipts fell sharply by 15.5% during the review period due to a 56% plunge in average crude oil price to $14.30 per barrel in April from $32.30 per barrel in March. We have come to the end of the business segment of the news. It's now time to bring you sport news with Moses Ojelmi.
Welcome to the sports segment of the news, and let's start from the local scene. President Muhammadu Buhari has appointed former Super Eagles striker Daniel Amokachi as a special assistant on sports. This was announced in a press statement by the media office of the Minister of Youth and Sport Development today. The statement was titled, PMB appoints Amokachi Special Assistant Sport, and signed by John Akonji, Special Advisor on Media to the Minister of Youth and Sport Development, Sunday, Dari. And still on the local scene, the management of Gateway United FC has commended the Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, for his consistent support for the club, even in the face of the novel coronavirus. The acting general manager of the club, Niyi Shuleye, who received the executive members of Sports Writers Association of Nigeria Ogun State chapter at the club secretariat, confirmed that the club has continued to fulfill their contractual obligations to the players and officials of the team despite COVID-19, courtesy of Ogun State government. He gave kudos to the state government for its giant strides towards ensuring that football and sports in general return to an enviable height in the Gateway State. And in Europe, our champions Liverpool will face championship winners Leeds United in the standout opening weekend game of the 2020-2021 Premier League season. Championship playoff winners Fulham will host Arsenal, while West Bromwich Albion, the third promoted side, are at home to Leicester City. The opening round of the fixtures will take place on the weekend of 12th September. However, Manchester City versus Aston Villa and Burnley versus Manchester United will be rearranged. And still with Leeds, they've been charged by the FA over the Premier League promotion celebration following their victory at Derby last season. Leeds marked their first game since winning the championship title by coming from behind to win 3-1 at Event Closed Doors Pride Park on July 19th.